Okay, guys, discussing. So, առաջին, the present tense, ներկա ժամանակը, or you could say ներկա ժամանակաձևը. All right, so this is present tense. So you have your verb and then you use em, s, e, enk, ek, en. Now I'm going to break this down for you. So let's start off here. So first of all, your verbs. So there are two endings for the infinitive of the verb. There's going to be el and there's going to be al. So it doesn't matter if for the present tense which ending it is. You're going to take out the el or the al and you're going to add Now that is going to be for every single one of these, no matter which pronoun you're talking about. However, these endings are going to identify which pronoun you're talking about. So yes, yes, it means I. Du means you. Na means he or she. Menk means we. Duk means you guys. Duk. And nrank means them. So let's go through this. I'm going to use the verb berel. Berel. It means to bring. Berel. Yes, berumem. I'm bringing. Du berumes. You're bringing. Na berume. He or she is bringing. Menk berumenk. We're bringing. Tuk berumek. You're bringing. You guys are bringing. Narank berum en. They are bringing. Now, the negative. So this red part right here. So the negative is going to be when you're not. Basically, what I mean is not. So chem. So in order to do this, you say chem in front of the verb, and then you say the rest of it. So yes, chem berum. Yes, it's pronoun chem berum. You don't add this M part anymore. Okay? But the chem, ches, chi, chenk, chek, chen, that goes after the pronoun. It doesn't go at the end of the, like after the verb like these ones do. So yes, chem berum. I'm not bringing. Tu ches berum. You're not bringing. Na chi berum. He's not bringing. Menk chenk berum. We're not bringing. Tuk chek berum. You guys are not bringing. Narank chen berum. They're not bringing. Exceptions to this. And those ones are unenal, gitenal, tal, gal. Tal. So tal means to take. Unenal means to own. Gitenal means to know. Gal means to come. So let's go through this. Talis em. Yes, talisem. Tu talises. Na talise. Na talise. Menk talisenk. Tuk talisek. Narank talisen. They're giving. They're giving. We're giving. I'm giving, etc. Unenal. Remember? To own. To have. Unem. Yes, unem. Tu unes. Na uni. Menk unenk. Tuk unek. Nrank unen. Unem. Unes. Uni. Unenk. Unek. Unen. Gitenal. To know. Yes, gitem. Tu gites. Na giti. Menk gitenk. Tuk gitek. Narank giten. Gal. Yes, galisam. Tu galises. Na gալիս է. Մենք գալիս ենք. Դուք գալիս եք. Նրանք gալիս են. So you notice how it's very common for tal and gal, where you're going to see really good similarities between them. It's just one letter difference. And you notice that these guys, these suffixes at the end, they're literally the same ones. So over here, it's just the root verb that is different. You don't add the you add an is, and you don't take out the al for both of these. Oops, you get the point. Okay, let's move on. All right, so now we have past tense. So past tense is անցյալ ժամանակ, անցյալ ժամանակ, or անցյալ ժամանակաձև. So the numberings of this, I organize them in a way where the more you go down, the further in the past it's going to be. Now, the reason why there are 2 ones is because, it's the same past tense, different ending. So some verbs will have atsa, but most verbs have etziatzi. Now, I'll give you a trick. The ones that have atsa are the ones that end with A-N-A-L. So if you want to type on Google Translate a verb and you see in the English translation that it ends with A-N-A-L, you need to use this past tense if you're talking about something that you just did. Okay? So yes, let's go through the examples. So first of all, we have pochel. Pochel, to change. Yes, փոխեցի. Ես փոխեցի. Դու փոխեցիր. Դու փոխեցիր. Նա փոխեց. Նա փոխեց. Մենք փոխեցինք. Մենք փոխեցինք. Դուք փոխեցիք. Դուք փոխեցիք. Նրանք փոխեցին. Նրանք փոխեցին. So that's the etzi atzi. And you'll notice this and this and this are basically literally, I'm just referring to the yes, the I, and then the verb. So the I conjugation. That's how I'm labeling this because I don't really know the name for them, but as long as you remember the group, you'll be fine. So just remember the ending. So etzi, etzir, etz, etzink, etzik, etzin. It's very, very common is this sort of structure in Armenian with a lot of the endings of verbs. So let's move on to another verb, the same past tense that has al instead of el. Loral. So loral is to swim. Loral. Yes, loratzi. Tu loratzir. Na լողաց. Մենք լողացինք. Դուք լողացիք. Նրանք լողացին. Let's move on to these guys. A-N-A-L, anal, we use atsa and that cluster. So let's, for example, lavanal. Lavanal, which means to get better. Yes, lavatsa. Yes, lavatsa. Du lavatsar. Du lavatsar. Na lavatsav. Na lavatsav. Մենք լավացանք. Մենք լավացանք. Դուք լավացաք. Դուք լավացաք. Նրանք լավացան. Նրանք լավացան. This is 95% correct, this rule that I highlighted with the same color. So this is 95% correct, but there are going to be exceptions like levanal. Levanal means to wash. So for levanal, it's not going to have atsa. It's going to use the initial etzi atzi. So yes, levatzi. Tu levatzir. Na levats. Մենք լվացինք. Դուք լվացիք. Նրանք լվացին. So we don't use the atsa for levanal. So like levatsa is wrong. Okay, so let's move on to the second tense. M. For example, let's use ganal. Ganal means to go. Simple. Ganal. Yes, gnațelem. Tu gnațeles. Na gnațele. Մենք գնացել դուք գնացել նրանք գնացել. So this is a good common rule that I want you guys to remember is you have the verb, subtract the L, and instead add tel. But this is only for the AL ending verbs. What do I mean by the AL ending verbs? Like look at right here, ganal. You see this AL right here? Yeah. So we're going to remove the L and we're going to add TSEL. And you see, that's how we get it. We add our suffixes. Okay, let's move on. Chagal. Ch, a, r, al. Ch, a, r, al. Chagal. So, yes, խաղացել եմ, դու խաղացել ես, նա խաղացել է, մենք խաղացել ենք, դուք խաղացել եք, նրանք խաղացել են. You're going to see that this rule is being followed out. We're taking out the L, we're adding tel, and then we, of course, have our suffixes right here. So that's the gist of it. Now, let's move on to one that ends with EL. So for the EL, we just use the verb when the verb ends with EL. But of course, we're adding our suffixes. Bernel. So this one, you're going to roll your R's. Bernel. Bernel. It means to grab, to catch. Yes, bernelem. Tu berneles. Na bernele. Մենք բռնելենք, դուք բռնելեք, նրանք բռնելեն. We just use the verb, we don't add tel. So you're not going to hear me say բռնեցել, M. No, that's wrong. Don't say that. Okay, and of course we have our exceptions to this second, to this. So we have տալ, գալ, ուտել, տանել, հասնել, վերցնել, լինել, դնել. Տալ, to give, գալ, to come, ուտել, to eat, տանել, to take, հասնել, to arrive, վերցնել, to take, լինել, to be, դնել, to put. Okay, so let's go through them. Yes, տվել եմ. So the way I wrote this is for the M, and basically the way this works is the only difference is this part, and of course is the roots, I guess, of the verb. So they're going to be different, and you just need to memorize this. There is no really rule behind this. But of course we have our suffixes. So these are all the yo conjugations of these exceptions. And here I wrote out the entire thing. So what you're going to want to do here to figure this out is you're going to want to take the root and you're going to want to add each of these suffixes. And that's going to be the pronouns. So remember, M is me, well, I, yes, terel, I'm sorry. So remember, M is yes, I. S is going to be you, tu. E is going to be na, he or she. Enk is going to be menk, we. Ek is going to be duk, you guys. N is going to be նրանք, them. So let's do a few. So let's just go through these. Տվել, I gave. Եկել, I came. Կերել, I ate. Տարել, I took. Հասել, I arrived. Վերցրել, I took. Եղել kind of means been, was, yeah. It's the past tense of to be, basically. Let's take gal. ekel. So, tu ekel es. You came. Let's do utel. Okay, let's do he. He ate. Let's do he ate. Na gerel e. Oops. So let's do we put. Menk derel enk. Let's say they arrived. Նրանք հասել են. A and then A. Okay, so let's move on to A. Լողանալ is to swim. So yes, լողացել A. I had, it basically means. It's past perfect, so it means I had. Yes, լողացել է. I had been swimming. Դու լողացել էր. You had been swimming. Նա լողացել էր. He had been swimming. So now you basically get the gist of it. I'm just going to read them. Լողացել ենք, լողացել եք, լողացել են. Ենք, եք, ein. Okay, so it's the past perfect. This rule applies. So whenever you have AL ending verbs, you take out the L, you add tzel. And that's how we get this. So that's how it went from l'oranal, and that's how we added this tzel part, as you can see. And as for where the N goes, l'oranal is fine. So let's move on with bernel. Like I said, bernel is to hold. Yes, so yes, bernel e. Tu bernel eir. Na bernel er. Մենք բռնել ենք, դուք բռնել եք, նրանք բռնել են. They had holden, I had held, sorry, not holden, held. I had held, you had held, they had held, etc. So, as you can see, just like how we had it over here, just like how we had it here, the verbs that end with el, the verbs that end with el, like bernel, they're not going to change. You're not going to add tzel. You're not going to take out the el and add tzel. You're going to keep it, the verb, how it is. Okay, let's move on. So, let's do one more. So, chagal. So, remember, take out the el, add a tzel. Kind of rhymes. So, yes, խաղացել է. Դու խաղացել էր. Նա խաղացել էր, մենք խաղացել ենք. Sorry. Մենք խաղացել ենք, դուք խաղացել եք, նրանք խաղացել են. So now we have խաղալ, to play. Խաղալ. Խաղալ. Ես խաղացել եմ. I had played. Դու խաղացել էր. You had played. Նա խաղացել էր. He had played, or she had played. Մենք խաղացել ենք. We had played. Դուք խաղացել եք. You guys had played. Նրանք խաղացել են. They had played. So there are some exceptions. So there's տալ, գալ, ուտել, տանել, հասնել, վերցնել, լինել, and դնել. So it's kind of like the previous one, except you're just changing the M to A. So remember, let me go here. Տվել, եկել, կերել, տարել, հասել, վերցրել, եղել. So you can't really see this one. Եղել. So they each correspond in their order. So this is going to be for this one, this is going to be for this one, and you get the point. So it's just going to be the same thing. We're just going to, instead of having our suffix be M, it's going to be A. Տվել, եկել, կերել, տարել, հասել, վերցրել, եղել. These are for the I conjugation of this tense. So you're not going to say, you guys had given. You're not going to say duk tavele. You're going to say duk Dövel, ache. Now, let's move on to the past continuous tense. So, ei. So, if it's, these are the general rules. So, if it doesn't matter if it's el or al, you're going to take out the el or the al and you're going to add And then, of course, we're going to have our suffixes. Now, of course, we're going to have our exceptions. Talis ei, galis ei, hasele, gerele. Okay, so let's do chagal, which was to play. Chagal, chagal, charumei, charumeir, charumer, charumeik, charumeik, charumein. Yes, herustatuitsei ditum. So notice how, first of all, let's break this down. First of all, these are going to be our suffixes, so know them. Ei, eir, enk, ache, ain. Those are going to be our suffixes. You got to know them. These guys are going to be our exceptions. And what you need to know about these is that you keep the root of the verb. You just you keep the root of the verb. You just replace the suffix with its appropriate one. So this is going to be I. This is going to be eir. So if I wanted to say, so you guys were coming. Tuk, galis, ache. Tuk, galis, ache. Where do you put the suffix? It kind of depends. What are you trying to emphasize? So if I'm in the sentence, yes, herustatuits ei ditum, that translates to directly, I, TV, was watching. I was watching the TV. So, what do I want to emphasize? If I want to emphasize the TV, yes, herustatuits ei ditum. What if I was watching my phone instead? See, that's where the emphasis comes in. Or what if I was trying to distinctify whether it was me or someone else? Now I need to put emphasis on the yes. So yes, ei herustatuits ditum. Okay, so next sentence, na ir chagaliknerov chagumer. So it directly translates to she, hers, toys, playing was. She was playing with her toys. So we put the ed at the end of the sentence and it emphasizes the verb that we were playing with. Okay. And we're going to stop here for now. I'm going to go over future tenses in a few days.